So when you're ready, go ahead and find a nice position on your back. I'm going to stay seated for a little bit to talk you through some things, and then I will join you. But once you find a position on your back, don't be afraid to maybe wiggle the shoulder blades underneath you. Maybe kind of open and close the mouth. And then feel free to check in with the low back and just see how the low back is feeling. See, maybe if you're arching the low back, it might feel good to bend one leg or maybe bend the other leg. You can even bring the knees high, so knees together pointing towards the ceiling and maybe the feet out wide, kind of creating like a triangle shape in the legs. And that might allow the low back to kind of relax towards the ground, kind of helping create some space in the low back. But find a position that feels good. Don't be afraid to adjust, maybe kind of wiggle a little bit. And then whenever you're ready, feel free to, maybe bring awareness into your space. Just maybe letting your attention go from one sound to the next. Just acknowledging the things that are happening around you, but not trying to comment on it, not trying to hold on to it, just being aware. And then you can stay there, or maybe shifting awareness to your physical body. Maybe scan the body from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Seeing if you can relax every muscle, every tendon. Maybe even connecting with those meeting points between you and the ground. And then especially checking in with those tension areas. Check in with the face, the jaw, maybe check in with the tongue. And then making your way down to the shoulders. See if you can create a little more space between the shoulders and the ears. And then maybe see if you can relax the shoulders, the chest, the arms a little bit more. We're so used to carrying tightness, tensions, maybe emotions. And so now it just becomes, a part of our life. So see if you can really relax, maybe even soften a little bit more. And then you can stay here with the breath or with the body, or maybe start to bring your awareness to the breath. No need to change the breath, just starting to be aware of maybe the rise and the fall of the belly or of the chest. And the breath is a great meeting point between the mind and the body, reminding the mind that the mind and the body are one and they do work together. But the breath is also a great connection to the present moment. So reminding yourself you can always come back to the breath whenever needed. Especially if you wander off, if you find yourself commenting, making up stories in the mind, no worries. Just acknowledge that and then see if you can bring it back. And like always, if connecting with the breath, it doesn't feel right, that's okay. Place the technique off to the side and maybe connect with a word or a phrase or a different focal point. And then option to stay here with your natural breath, that natural rhythm pace. And maybe slowly explore extending the breath. But remind yourself if it causes tightness or tension elsewhere, no need to do it. And an option to maybe count the breath and really focusing on maybe building lung capacity, but also extending the exhale breath. So I'll give you a couple options. Feel free to make this unique to what you need. Take any count that feels right. But maybe you inhale for a 4 count. And then you try to exhale, extend the breath for a 6 count. And like always, making sure to breathe. So if it doesn't feel right, no need to do it. And then you can always stay with the 4 and 6 count, or you can maybe explore 6 and 8, 8 and 10, or just come back to that regular natural breath. And then you can finish the round you were on, or maybe take one more round. But once you are done, let the breath come back to your rhythm, your pace. And just taking time to check in, see how you feel. And also reminding yourself, building lung capacity is a practice in itself. So try not to judge. And then maybe start to shift your awareness to cultivating an intention or bringing back in your focal point. This could be a word, a phrase, maybe a positive affirmation statement. But if nothing comes to mind tonight, I kind of offer up the theme of finding nourishment. The breath is very nourishing for the body and the mind, right? As you inhale, you fill up with oxygen, using that oxygen, sending it off to the cell, to the mitochondria to do its work, to do its job. And the exhale breath is also nourishing for many reasons. That slow exhale breath tells the nervous system it's time to relax, it's time to rest. The exhale breath can also be maybe releasing or letting go. Maybe releasing, carbon dioxide, the waste, or maybe allowing the mind to let go of things that it no longer needs. Or even past trauma, maybe some emotion you may be holding on to. So as you practice tonight, make sure to find movements, find postures, find techniques that nourish your body and mind. And then give your body and your mind permission to let go of the things that don't bring you nourishment. So if you have a focal point and intention, you can set it now. You can always place it at the third eye, the space between your eyebrows. Hold it there. Come back to it whenever you need to. And then we'll seal it in with a couple rounds of cleansing breath together. When you're ready, slowly take a deep inhale in through the nose. Fill the belly, fill the chest. Maybe hold the breath at the top. And then slow, open mouth exhale, side out. Slowly let it go. Beautiful. Maybe one more deep inhale, fill up, find nourishment for the body. Big exhale, let it go. Maybe release anything that no longer serves you. And then always an option for your regular breath or maybe your Ujjayi pranayama breath. Inhaling through the nose, seal your lips. And then as you exhale, take it back out through the nose. Find that slight constriction in the back of the throat, making your breath audible. Listening to the breath, letting it anchor you here to your mat, but also slowing the breath down. So important for the nervous system, for the mind, to kind of slow the brain waves down. And then feel free to stay here for as long as you want, but whenever you are ready, you can slowly start to reawaken. Maybe wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, kind of roll the ankles, roll the wrists. Maybe let the head rock heavy side to side. And then slowly option for a nice full body stretch. Good evening, good night stretch. Reach the arms up overhead. Maybe point the toes, wiggle it out. Then you can start to bend the legs. Maybe feet stay connected to the ground. And just kind of explore some sways with the legs, going right, going left. Maybe start to draw the knees more towards the chest. Really allow the low back to ground down. Maybe explore some circles in the knees, giving the low back a little massage. And then option to stay here or wind removing pose. Extend your left leg long. It can be straight or bent. And then gently draw the right leg towards you. You can grab for the shin, maybe behind the thigh. And take about 5 rounds of breath to maybe find some organic movements. You can sway the knee, roll the ankle, point and flex the toes. But like always, soften the shoulders, relax the jaw. And then you can stay here or maybe bring the knee kind of back to center. And then option to say hi to the hamstring. Extend your right leg long. You can interlace the fingers behind the thigh. And then explore here. Keep a bend in the right leg. No need to force this. You can even just maybe drive your right heel towards the ceiling. You can always find movements. Keep the shoulders, the jaw soft. Take one more deep inhale. Full exhale. And then when you're ready, bend back into the right leg, draw it back to the chest. Left leg will come up to meet it, pulling both knees in, allowing the low back to feel the ground underneath you. And then taking it to the left side. Right leg can come down to the ground, keep it straight or bend. And then start to explore the left side. Sway the knee, roll the left ankle. Kind of see maybe what the left leg is craving. And then you can stay here or start to bring the knee back towards center. And then option for the hamstring stretch, extend the left leg long, grab it behind the thigh, keep a bend in the leg. And then explore maybe rolling the ankle, or if you want to focus more on the back of the leg, drive your left heel towards the ceiling. And just gently draw the left leg towards you, find a spot that feels good. And then check in with the shoulders. One more big inhale. Maybe let it go as you exhale. And then bending back into the left leg. One more time, full wind removing pose. Right leg will come up to meet the left. Give the knees, the legs a squeeze. Big inhale. And then as you exhale, release. Good. Feet will come back down to the ground. And then feet can come together, knees together. And then we're going to find our twist. So we'll go to the left side first. So you can even, just roll all the way over to the left. Or starting from center, maybe arms off to the side like a T, and then hips will draw to the right, knees to the left. So basically I want you to find, a spot that feels good to twist. So, coming all the way to the left, or maybe going more towards the middle, or maybe venturing over towards the right. Okay? And know that the knees and the shoulder do not have to touch the ground. You can always slide pillows, blankets underneath, or just let them hover. And then lastly, gaze can stay up. If you are more, leaning towards the right, maybe allow the chin to fall to the right side. And twisting is very nourishing for the body. It's great for lengthening out to the spine, especially the low back. It's good for kind of rinsing, especially your, organs that are in the belly. But it also can be very nourishing for the mind. Rinsing it out, letting the chatter, letting the noise go. Take one more deep inhale. Gently twist as you exhale. And then take your time, no rush. We'll take it to the other side. So slowly bringing the knees back up. And then find the twist that feels good for you. Maybe go all the way to the right side. Finding more of like a fetal pose position. See how that feels. Or, maybe you bump the hips to the left. Knees go to the right. Gaze can be up or even towards the left side. Maybe grab a pillow, place it underneath the thighs or the left shoulder. Find a spot where you can maybe lengthen out the left side. And then an option to always come back to your focal point. Maybe coming right back to the breath. Using the breath as a tool to help you be here. To maybe help you let go. Awesome work. One more deep inhale. Gently twist as you exhale. And then take your time, no rush. Coming back to center, whatever feels good here. Knees to chest, or maybe a nice full body stretch. Wiggle it out again. And then we're going to meet in a Sukhasana, a seated position. So you can rock yourself up or roll to one side, gently press up. Feel free to grab a pillow to sit on or anything you need. And then you can cross the ankles or sit on the shins. And before we kind of find Sukhasana, seated position, maybe you kind of roll the shoulders, go one way, and then go the other. Maybe kind of find some little half circles in the neck. Just kind of checking in, seeing how you feel. Seeing what you might be holding on to. Good. And then go from seated position, just checking in. Allow your sit bones, your butt bones to ground down. And then see if you need to maybe adjust the pelvis, right? So essentially we want the low back to kind of be long, but we don't want to round or, kind of arch. So you can even kind of, just be aware of how the pelvis moves and how that affects your low back, right? So as best as you can, see if you can find a position where the pelvis, helps the low back to kind of lengthen out, but it's right underneath the shoulders and even the ribs, okay? And then relax the shoulders back. Crown of the head will lift. And then maybe add a little tuck of the chin. So you want the cervical spine, the back of your neck to be really long. So we tend to do this. We're looking at our phones or whatever, and we tend to push the head back. I'm kind of over exaggerating, but we tend to do this. And that places a lot of pressure on the upper back and the cervical spine. So see if you can kind of lift from the crown of the head, but add a little tuck of the chin, like you're pressing the back of the head straight back. Good. And then take a breath here. Feel maybe some openness, feel some space. Deep inhale. Slow and steady exhale. Good. Eagle arms, Garudasana. Inhale, arms can come out forward or maybe start to reach them overhead. And then as you exhale, right arm underneath the left. You can cross at the elbows, give yourself a hug. Or maybe the right hand kind of grabs for the left forearm or the left wrist. Okay, so any variation. And then see if you can keep the elbows in line with the shoulders. But relax the shoulders. Don't let the shoulders creep towards the ears. And then gently draw the elbows forward. Find space in the upper back. Good. And we'll take some cat-cow here. As you inhale, little lift in the arms. Maybe lift the gaze. As you exhale, cat back, round the spine. Elbows can draw to the belly, chin to the chest. Moving with your breath. Inhale, gently lift, cow. Exhale, cat, round the spine, pull it in. Good, last time, take an inhale, lift up, exhale, round, and then holding at the bottom in your cat back. Draw the chin to the chest, relax the shoulders, and then see if you can draw your heart kind of towards the wall behind you. And then a couple options, you can really focus on maybe drawing the chin towards the chest, see how that feels. Or maybe right ear goes towards the right shoulder, kind of up and down the right side. Maybe even looking kind of towards the right shoulder, seeing how the left side of your neck feels. Maybe 2 more rounds of breath. Good. And then bring the chin back towards center. As you inhale, unwind, maybe arms come forward or back up overhead. And then as you exhale, release, arms come back down. Good. Shake it out. Good. And then before we do the other side, let's give the shoulders a little break, a little love. Extend the legs out long. Maybe kind of shake them out. Okay, we'll take seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So don't be afraid to allow the pelvis to kind of move here a little bit, to adjust the low back. Okay, so keep a bend in the legs. Take an inhale, find length. And then as you exhale, still hinge at the hips, start to reach your heart towards the tops of your feet. Hands can kind of walk forward or maybe soften the shoulders away from the ears. But find a spot where you can, find space from the heels all the way towards the low back. Okay? So don't be afraid to explore the bend in the legs and kind of reach your heart forward, soften the shoulders back. And then maybe keep the gaze straight down, kind of that little tuck of the chin, back of the neck is long. Soften the jaw, relax the tongue, the space between the eyebrows. Take a deep inhale, reach the heart forward. Full exhale, maybe bending at the elbows a little more. Yeah, one more. Good. And then feel free to stay or maybe start to point the toes, kind of breathe into the tops of the ankles, into the shins. Good. And then you can flex back into the feet, and then when you're ready, you can walk your hands back, slowly rise, coming back up. Good, awesome job. Shake it out. And then back to Sukhasana. Cross the ankles or sit on the shins. Option to maybe find that awkward way. So for me, the left ankle will come in front. Kind of feels a little awkward in the hips, a little different. And then, one more time, we'll take eagle arms on the left. So ground down, rise up, and then as you inhale, arms come forward or maybe up overhead. And then left arm will come under the right, cross at elbows, grab for shoulders, give yourself a hug, or maybe grab for the right forearm, the right wrist. Okay? And then wherever you're at, see if you can keep the elbows in line with the shoulders, but keep the shoulders relaxed. They're not going to be relaxed, but think about drawing the shoulders down. And then once again, draw the elbows forward, your scapulas, your shoulder blades, those blades on the back body. See if you can draw them away from one another. And then from here, a couple cat-cows again. As you inhale, gently lift, maybe send the gaze up. As you exhale, cat, round the spine, chin can come to the chest. Good, inhale, cow, gently lift. Exhale, cat. One more, inhale, and then exhale into your cat back, holding here. Chin can come to the chest. Press your heart to the wall behind you. Breathe into the upper back. And then same thing, you can explore, really allowing the chin to come in, or maybe find some movement. Left ear kind of goes up and down the left side. Maybe even gaze towards the left shoulder. And then if you need it, hold there. Kind of breathe into any tightness, any tension. Good. Then when you're ready, chin back to center. Inhale on one, arms can come forward or maybe up overhead. And then as you exhale, release, arms to the side, shake it up. Good, awesome job. And then take your time, we'll come into tabletop position, coming out to all fours. Feel free to place a blanket underneath the knees. But once in tabletop position, take time to explore, sway the hips. You can always come back to your cat-cow movement. And then you can stay here, or option for puppy dog pose or heart melting pose. So kind of finding, a little different stretch in the chest and in the shoulders, kind of the opposite of what we just did. So keeping the hips on top of the knees, slowly walk the hands forward. You don't have to go far here. The forehead does not have to touch the ground. The chest does not need to be near the ground. But just allow kind of the forehead, the heart to slowly draw towards the earth. And just being aware of what's happening in the shoulders, what's happening in the chest. No need to force it. Maybe 2, 3 more rounds of breath here, but slowly release whenever you need to. Beautiful work. Deep inhale. Full exhale. And then coming back up to tabletop. Palms back underneath the shoulders. And then this time, go ahead, tuck the toes under. Right? So bringing awareness to the big toe joints and into the ankles. And so your choice, you can keep the knees grounded and just kind of go forward and back here. See how that feels. Or next time you lean back, maybe start to lift the knees and explore the knees hovering. And one is not better than the other. Find the variation that feels best for you. And making sure the hands are active here. Grip your fingertips into the ground. Really press down through the palm. Good. And then coming back forward into your tabletop, knees can come to the ground. Untuck the toes. Gently tap the feet, top of the mat. Maybe roll the ankles, roll. Shake it out. Good, beautiful work. All right, so we're gonna come into down dog if you like, okay? So if you want down dog tonight, you can walk the hands forward, grip your fingertips, really strong hands, tuck the toes, send the hips high. And if you're in Adho Mukha, down dog, maybe pedal the legs, bend one leg, bend the other, kind of swaying the hips. You can always sway the hips or come into cat-cow if you're in tabletop pose. But if you are in down dog, really strong shoulders. So really active posture here. Grip your fingertips down, grip your hands, kind of squish the hands into the mat, and then start to think about lifting the hips straight up. So kind of like the tip of the triangle, or kind of like your low back, your glutes. And then bend the legs as much as you need it. That might kind of help with finding space in the back body. And just think about driving the heels down, but don't worry if the heels don't touch. Shake the head yes, shake it no. And find gratitude here for your strong shoulders. Thank them for helping you stay lifted up here. Beautiful work. One more round of breath. Big inhale. Full exhale. And then when you're ready, release. Slowly coming down into child's pose. Knees go wide, big toes to touch. Send the hips back. You can always grab a pillow, place it underneath you, let the hips rest. Or let the hips hover. And then hands can walk forward, maybe rest the forearms, or you can always give the shoulders a break and send the fingertips back towards the toes. And child's pose, very grounding, maybe a place you feel safe in, place where you can rest, maybe bring the awareness back in. Maybe giving kind of the mind or the body permission to let go. So go ahead, take a deep inhale. Send the breath towards the back body. Allow the back body to rise up. And then slow and steady exhale. Release it, let it go. Maybe one more deep inhale. Slow and steady exhale. Good, awesome work. Take your time coming back to center. And then your choice. tabletop or down dog. So we're going to work on bringing the right leg through. So it might feel good to lift the right hand off the ground at any point or to come onto the right fingertips because you want to try to find some space, okay? So if you're in tabletop position, you're going to kind of lift the right hand, draw the right leg forward, come onto the right foot and start to slide or gently pull the right leg to the top, okay? From down dog, kind of same thing. If you're lifted, bend the right leg, lift the left heel, maybe come onto the right fingertips, and start to slowly slide your right leg forward, okay? And then everyone go ahead and start with the left knee grounded. And then if you would like, you can grab your blocks and kind of like a cat-cow lunge. So as you inhale, you can think about maybe lowering the pelvis, finding a little back bend here, lifting the heart. And then as you exhale, a little bit of a cat back, kind of just folding, rounding in, straightening through the right leg. Not straightening the right leg, but allowing the right leg to maybe extend a little bit. So maybe 3-4 rounds of breath here, warming up the pelvis, the hamstrings, the hips a little bit more. And then take one more. We'll meet back in the lunge with the right leg bent. And then right knee will be behind the right toes. And then if you're going to stay on the left knee, press the top of the left foot down. And then you can stay here with the hands on the ground or the blocks, or maybe start to bring your hands to the right thigh or hands to the hips. Okay? So Anjaneyasana or kneeling lunge, low lunge position. If you would like to try crescent or more of a high lunge, high Anjaney, tuck your left toes under. And then before you go anywhere, make sure to check the feet. Think of train tracks, not a tightrope, right? You might want to shorten the stance a little bit, feel really sturdy. And then right away, extend the left leg long. Think about kind of lifting from the inner left thigh. Check in with the right hip, hug it in, press it back. Maybe slowly rise, hands to the right thigh, to the hips. If you want to work the shoulders, maybe reach the arms up overhead. And then wherever you're at, the hips are going to be the same. Think about kind of maybe drawing the glutes down, kind of finding that little tuck of the tailbone action, finding more space in the low back, and maybe finding space here in the front of the left thigh. Right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. And then find your jersey, a focal point out in front of you. Your vision, will help with your balance, will help with your focus. Beautiful work, so strong. Last big inhale. And then when you're ready, slowly hands back down, maybe to blocks or to the ground. And then if you're on the left knee, option for half splits. The left knee is lifted, pyramid pose. So for a half split, send the hips back, straightening the right leg. You can slide the heel forward, flex the right toes towards your face. And then the right hip will draw back, kind of draw, the heel towards the back wall. Left hip will draw forward. Shoulders away from the ears. If you're in pyramid pose, left heel can be lifted or grounded, your choice. But just think about the right hip and allow the right hip to draw straight back. Breathing into the back of the right leg. 2, maybe 3 more rounds of breath here. Relax the face, the jaw. Maybe soften the shoulders a little bit more. Deep inhale. Slow and steady exhale. Good, awesome job. And then take your time coming back forward into the right knee. And then hands will, come to the ground if your hands are lifted, if you're in pyramid pose. And then option for lizard lunge. So walk your foot over towards the right side. So hands will come to the inside of your right foot. Right knee is still behind the toes. And then your choice. You can always explore. Forearms can come to blocks. Maybe forearms one day to the ground. You can even explore kind of the pelvis being lifted a little bit. And kind of walking the hands back behind the heel. And maybe even starting to bend at the elbows. So breathing maybe into the inner thigh. Breathing into the right hip. And checking in with the fingertips. Try not to clench or make fists. See if you can send the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe wiggle out the jaw, close the eyes, and come right back to the breath. And take an inhale. Slow and steady exhale. Good, beautiful work. And then take your time. We're going to come back up to the hands. If you're not there, walk your right foot in. And then if you have blocks, you can take them with you. We're going to turn this into wide-legged forward fold. So tuck the left toes under, start to lift off the left knee, and then right away turn to your left. Toes will turn in, heels will turn out. And you can use your blocks here. If you're not going to use your block, you can kind of place them towards the back edge or towards kind of where the left foot is. And then finding your wide-legged forward fold position. So heels are in line, toes are slightly turned in, and feel free to kind of explore. Maybe kind of take some side lunges, bending the right leg, bending the left. Maybe shake the head yes, shake it no. Remember, try not to lock the legs, keep a little bend or a big bend, and then think about kind of lifting from your seat. You can always explore the arms here. If it feels right, maybe a chest expansion grip, you can always grab a towel or a strap, start to send the legs up overhead. Two more rounds of breath. Too much with the head below the heart, you can always take a seated wide-legged fold, making sure to adjust here. One more deep inhale. Gently fold into it as you exhale. Good. Then take your time. Hands can kind of walk underneath the shoulders, kind of lift the chest, and then you're going to pivot to the back of your mat. Okay, if it feels weird, maybe being at the back and you have to adjust your camera, you can always, go back to the front of your mat. Just make sure your left foot is in front, okay? So we'll do the same thing on the left side, kind of the lunge and the splits. So left foot is in the front, and then go ahead, keep the right knee on the ground to start. Maybe grab your blocks, and then option to, explore those cat-cow movements here from a lunge position. So as you inhale, lower the pelvis, lift the heart. As you exhale, send the hips back, extending through the left leg. Just kind of going forward and back here. Kind of think of greasing the hinges, greasing up the joints. And then you can come back to the lunge, bending into the left leg, and then finding your variation of lunge or Anjaneyasana of crescent lunge. So if the right knee is going to be grounded, press the top of the right foot down. Hands can stay grounded, or maybe explore hands to the thigh, to the hip. And then, bring awareness to the pelvis. See if you need to kind of rock the glutes down. And breathe into the front of the right thigh, maybe into the psoas muscle, but keeping, the lift out of the low back. If you're going to move into crescent or high lunge, tuck the right toes under, lift the knee, making sure the feet are hip width distance, maybe kind of walk the right foot forward slightly, and then really strong back leg. Think about driving through the heel, lifting from the inner right thigh, and then you can keep the hands grounded, or maybe hands to the hips, to the thigh, or even up overhead. And same thing, think about drawing the glutes down, left hip back, right hip forward, and really, activate the back leg. Kind of think about driving through the heel. And then wherever you're at, find that focal point. Something out in front of you that's not moving. Maybe feel the breath, see the chest rise and fall. One more big inhale, so strong. And then as you exhale, hands come back down, maybe to blocks. For pyramid pose, you'll keep the right knee lifted but straighten the left leg. Right heel can be grounded, or you can keep it lifted, your choice. For half splits, send the hips back, straightening through the left leg. And you'll have to do a couple more steps here. Slide the left heel forward. So the hips are on top of the right knee. Flex the left toes, and then, wherever you're at, drive the left hip back. Pyramid pose or half splits. Relax the shoulders, maybe open and close the mouth. And find a spot that, maybe feels good where you're lengthening out the back of the left leg, maybe into the low back. One more big inhale. Gently fold as you exhale. And then take your time coming back into the left leg. We'll take lizard lunge. So walk your hands to the inside of your left foot. Left foot can walk over to the edge. And then you can stay here, right? You can lower it down to your blocks, maybe onto the forearms. But try not to, drop in the shoulders here and kind of, coming back to that position where the shoulders are towards the ears. Try to lift up. And then you can always explore where the pelvis is at. Lowering the pelvis may find a little more space in the front of the right hip. Lifting the pelvis may focus on more of the left hip or the inner left thigh here. But explore, right? This is your body, your practice. So really make sure it's, unique to what your needs are right now. And if you need to, check in, especially with those tension areas. One more big inhale. Slow exhale. And then take your time. We're going to come one more time to wide-legged forward fold. So we're going to turn back to the right or to whatever side feels good. You can tuck the right toes under, lifting the knee. Maybe grab your blocks, walk your blocks over to the right side. And then one more time, wide-legged forward fold. You can always come to that seated position as well. And then you can stay here and just let gravity do the work. Maybe shake the head yes, shake it no. If you want to kind of focus on the inner thighs a little bit more, kind of talk you through some variations. But go ahead and start to bend into the right leg. Kind of find a side lunge. Okay. And then you can stay here or maybe explore walking your hands to the left. So you're in a lunge on the right side and then hands can reach to the left. Breathing into the inner left thigh here. Take a breath, big inhale. Slowly let it go as you exhale. And then back to your wide-legged forward fold, lift back up. And then option for a side lunge on the left. Bend the left leg. Find a spot that feels good. Stay here or maybe start to walk your hands over to the right. And I like to even kind of think about reaching through the left fingertips. Maybe even finding space on the left side, maybe into the armpit, maybe kind of to the lat muscle, on the left side here of the back, but also breathing into the right inner thigh. Good, big inhale. Gently reach towards the right as you exhale. Good, and then releasing, coming back to center. Last 2 rounds of breath here. Maybe let gravity help you out. Nice posture to, reverse gravity here. Decompressing the spine. Shake it yes, shake it no. Good. And then you're going to turn back to the top. Good. And then you can step your right foot back to down dog, or maybe tabletop position, and start to kind of pedal it out. If you're in tabletop position, maybe sway the hips, but take a breath here. And then child's pose is waiting for you. Knees can go wide, big toes to touch, send the hips back. Maybe make fists here, place a block underneath your forehead. And taking some time to maybe slow it back down, to maybe check in, or to just find, rest. You don't have to make it always something. And then you can stay here in child's pose. You're maybe stretching out the side bodies. So from child's pose, you can walk your hands over to the left. Maybe your right hand comes on top of the left, but reaching through the right fingertips, grounding, or kind of reaching the right hip back. So right hip kind of reaches back as the right fingertips reach towards the left. I like to kind of rest my head on the right arm and just breathe into the right side. And then walking the hands back through center. And then taking it over towards the right side. Find length through the left side, especially space between maybe the ribs here. Maybe let the head rest on the arm. Maybe a little more big inhale. Gently reach over to the right as you exhale. Good, and then come back to center. Stay here, or lastly, maybe take a reverse prayer grip, maybe kind of exploring the triceps or the kind of into the armpits here. So you can bend the elbows, bring the hands together. My brain is obviously 5 steps ahead tonight. But option to start to bring the thumbs maybe towards the back of the neck. So they don't have to reach the back of the neck, but just kind of, maybe fingertips point to the sky, but drive kind of the elbows, the back of the upper arms into the ground. And if this doesn't feel right, no need to do it. Making sure to adjust, honoring what you need. Take a deep inhale. Stay for the exhale. Good, awesome job. And then slowly, come onto the forearm. So slide yourself forward and start to extend the legs long. Yeah, so keep the elbows under the shoulders. Kind of, into Sphinx pose, a little back bend here. Maybe find some half circles, look left, look right. Allow the elbows to kind of draw to the ribs. And for me, I have a lot of flexibility sometimes in my low back, so I tend to dump weight back there. So I like to kind of draw the glutes down, and kind of the belly starts to lift a little bit, maybe finding a little more space in the low back. Relax the shoulders. And then when you're ready, slowly coming back down. Palms can come underneath the shoulders for Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. We'll take kind of like a slow round, and then I'll give you the option to maybe flow 2 times, and these will be our last 2 back bends. So feet will press down, knees will lift, inner thighs squeeze in and kind of roll up. And then draw the shoulder blades together down the spine. Feel your spine, your back muscles engaged. And then as you inhale, belly presses down, slowly lift the chest. Keep the back of the neck long, maybe gaze down, slightly out in front, and then make sure to breathe. But feel the whole backside working as you just gently lift. Reaching out and then slightly up. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, come back down. Good, so strong. Maybe 2 more just with the breath. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Belly into the ground, exhale, lower. Good, let's take 1 more big inhale. Let the inhale, that pressure lift you up, and then exhale, release. Good, left ear to the mat, gaze goes right. Slide the arms long behind you, or to the side, palms up. Heels rock open, soften the glutes. Maybe close the eyes. Slow the breath down. Really feeling the inhales and exhales here. Kind of finding that pressure in the belly as you inhale, and feeling the release as you exhale. And then from here, send the gaze to the left or right ear to the mat, stretching out the other side of your neck. And then you can stay, maybe focus on the breath, or maybe start to kind of shimmy the hips side to side, Or you can start to bend the legs, heels to the ceiling, and maybe kind of just sway the legs like windshield wiper side to side. And then slowly chin back to center. We're going to press ourselves back up. And option 4, embryo pose. So different than child's pose. It's a kind of great counter stretch for the back bend. So you're going to bring your knees more together. So child's pose is more the knees wide. So knees will come together. Maybe grab like a blanket or a pillow or a block. Forehead down to the block or maybe the ground. And then fingertips can reach towards the toes. So you're allowing the belly, the spine to rest on the legs. To kind of find this really grounding, maybe compressing posture. Maybe finding some length or release in the low back. And then stay as long as you like. When you're ready, you can slowly lift up. And then grab whatever you need. We're going to come onto our backs. Beautiful work. And then once you're on your back, you can draw the knees to the chest. Maybe gently rock side to side. Draw some circles. Open and close the mouth. If you like happy baby, stamp your feet onto the ceiling. You can grab it behind the thighs and gently draw the knees down. Maybe grab for the feet or the heels, but try not to lift your tailbone. Think about drawing the tailbone towards the ground. You can always make your baby as happy as you want. Sway side to side, maybe kind of kick the legs. And then slowly release. Option for figure 4. Left foot to the ground, cross the edge of your right foot. Top of the left thigh, keep your right foot flexed, and then gently draw the knee away. Kind of see how the right hip, the glute feels. You can always start to float the left foot, place it on a block. You can always place your left foot on the wall. Or maybe you interlace the fingers behind the left thigh, right? So just finding a spot that feels good, starting to draw the leg towards the chest, keeping the right foot flexed. Activating kind of the lower leg to protect the knee. And then, as always, relax the shoulders. Soften the jaw. Letting go of any tightness, any tension you're holding on to. And then feel free to maybe close the eyes. Keep awareness here in your space. Maybe to the body, to the breath. But try not to comment on things, try not to analyze. Just see if you can be here and just being aware. Last 2 rounds of breath. Wiggle out the jaw, take a deep inhale. Slowly let it go as you exhale. Good, awesome work. If the left foot is lifted, place it back on the ground. And then we'll come right into the twist on this side. So a couple options. You can place the arms out to the side, kind of like a T, and then keep your figure 4 legs and let the legs go to the left. So the right foot will come to the ground. The right knee will still point to the sky. And this is going to kind of focus still more on the outer hip. And just kind of, find this more open twist. Might give you a little more space. Or you can cross the right leg and allow the legs to kind of be, together. And maybe draw the knees towards the ground. Or, come back to that twist you did in the beginning of class where you stack the legs. Find a spot that feels good. You can always adjust the shoulders. Maybe kind of lift the left shoulder blade to see if you can create some space for the right. And take one more deep inhale. Gently let it go as you exhale. And then take your time, slowly unwind, come back to center, shake it out. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, starting with figure 4. Right foot can start on the ground, edge of the left foot, top of the right thigh, keep the left foot flex. Gently draw the left knee away. And just see how this feels. Maybe you stay here on this side or place your right foot on a block. You can always place your right foot on the wall. Or maybe interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. And this side's going to feel different. So honor what the left side wants, what it needs. Try not to compare it with the right. And then if you need to, check in with the shoulders, the jaw. Maybe relax a little bit more. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Beautiful. Stay as long as you like. When you're ready, find your twist. So a couple options. I'll talk you through them again, but option for figure 4 twist. So legs will stay, kind of, shift the hips towards the left. Sole of your left foot can come to the ground. Left knee will press towards the sky. You may, explore drawing the left knee away. See how that feels, maybe kind of in the outer hip. Or you can slide the left leg and wrap it around the right. Maybe kind of, allow the knees to really draw towards the right side. Or don't be afraid to stack the knees, right? You can always lift the right shoulder. Find a spot that feels good where you can breathe into the left side body. And then one more time, seeing if you're holding on to anything, especially in the mind here. And as best as you can, give the mind permission to let it go. You can even think about it as creating space in the mind and the body for things you need, things you desire, things you want. One more deep inhale. Gently twist, let it go as you exhale. Good, and then take your time, slowly release. And then lastly, last decompressing posture of the night. Legs up the wall, you can move to the wall. If you have a chair, you can, find like a 90-90 position. So 90 degrees in the knees and in the hips. So you can put your calves on a chair. So this will allow the low back to draw to the ground, right? And kind of find decompression there, right? So we're using gravity, usually seated. Now we're going to use gravity to help us out. Or you can extend the legs, grab from behind the thighs. But wherever you're at, just making sure the low back is kind of drawing or reaching down to the ground. Relax the shoulders, maybe open and close the mouth. If the legs are lifted, you can even explore movement, kind of shake it out, roll the ankles. And if you would like, take some time to thank yourself. Finding gratitude for showing up, for taking time out of your day to find nourishment for the body and the mind. So important. Finding self-care, self-love for yourself so you can share that nourishment and that love to others. Take an inhale. Thank yourself for being here. Big exhale. Maybe send that gratitude to someone who needs it. And then you can stay or maybe curl into a ball. Find some compression. Squeeze it all together one last time. And then finding your way into Shavasana, corpse pose. Take up as much space as you like. Don't be afraid to grab blankets, socks, maybe an eye pillow. You can always place blocks underneath the knees or roll up a blanket and place it underneath the knees. If you feel like you're placing kind of pressure on the cervical spine, the neck, you can always fold up a blanket or maybe grab a really thin pillow and kind of place it behind the head. So allowing the head to still be in line with the spinal column. And then option to scan the body one last time. Now seeing if you can really relax, really soften every single muscle, every single body part. Maybe you can wiggle those shoulders underneath you, kind of wiggle out the jaw, maybe even lift the eyebrows up and down, but giving the body permission to find some well-deserved rest. And then if you need to, checking in with the mind, but also giving the mind a permission to find rest as well. To maybe let go of the noise of the chatter, kind of those things that may clog up our vision. Maybe give the mind permission to let go, or give the mind permission to just be here with the breath. You can always focus on the rise and the fall of the chest, of the belly. Or you can always count the breath up to 10. So as you inhale, you can say to yourself 1, exhale 1, inhale 2, exhale 2. But know at any point if you lose the count, just being aware and then bringing it back without judgment, without criticism. But for the next few moments, finding nourishment, finding rest for both the physical body and the mind. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, but to be right here in this moment with this breath. Really checking in, seeing if the mind is wandering, seeing if you're holding on. Give yourself permission to maybe let go, to come back to this moment, to this breath, without judgment, returning right back to the rise and the fall. Maybe see if you can soften a little bit more. Relaxing the shoulders, letting the arms feel heavy. Maybe relaxing your belly, your low back. Letting the torso be heavy. Relaxing the legs, the feet. Letting the legs be heavy. And relaxing the face, the jaw, the tongue, the space between the eyebrows. Allowing the face and the head to feel heavy. And then option to stay here, maybe with the breath, with the count, or option to give the mind and even the body permission to do whatever it wants to do. If the mind wants to wander, it wants to think, let it think. If the body wants to wiggle, let it wiggle. But if it wants to stay here with the breath, allow it to be, without judgment, without any criticism. And then whenever you're ready, slowly start to deepen the breath. Start to bring small movements back in, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Maybe you can roll the ankles, the wrists. And then option for a nice full body stretch. Reach the arms up overhead, ascend the legs long, take a couple wiggles. And then you can draw the knees to the chest. Feel free to stay here, or you can rock to your favorite side for fetal pose using the bottom arm as a pillow. Shavasana is death, fetal pose is rebirth. So coming into this next breath, these new opportunities with a nice clean slate. When you're ready, you can gently press yourself up to a seat, cross the ankles, sit on the shins, maybe find some gentle movement. Hands can rest on the thighs, maybe hands come to the heart center, connecting with the heart chakra, anahata. Maybe allowing the thumbs to gently press towards the heart, towards your center. And connecting with this place of love, this place of gratitude. And just taking, time again to thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for finding nourishment tonight. And then you can say here, maybe place the thumbs on the third eye, connecting with your third eye chakra, this place of intuition, your inner wisdom. And I thank you all for joining me, for sharing your beautiful practices. And from my heart to yours, with so much gratitude, I bow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful work, everyone.